there is an official sound to the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me just play it for you.
I already know what it is.
Let me just play it for you, and let me just and you'll be the judge, okay?
That's so true. That's how you know summer has commenced.
The moment you hear, wait, where is it? The moment you hear this buzzing sound in the background,
but you know what's an even
that's
more
when you know
elite,
summer has started, or summer's officially here.
You know what's an even more elite sound?
What?
That sound with a combination of the ice cream truck.
Yeah, and the AC running in the background.
Yeah. Where it kicks into
yeah, you just hear humming in the background.
Yep. Summer.
Yeah, that's summer right there.
We're feeling it right now this week. It's like 35 degrees.
I think summer has just started.
Yeah. September. What's the date today?
What is it?
September 4th.
September 4th? Yeah, today's September 4th.
Yeah. I was saying
doesn't matter exactly what day 4th. It is. Okay, let's just say summer has officially started this week because, like, we were dealing with torrential rains basically for the past 2 months.
Yeah.
And nothing else. What was that?
I don't know. Clearly,
what?
The camera's crooked.
Is it crooked?
Yeah. It's lower on your side.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Cousin
Connection
Podcast. You guys know the deal, okay? Before we get into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give us a follow on all of our other social platforms because you'll probably hear from us first on Instagram, then TikTok, and then YouTube for our weekly uploads. We're actually really close to hitting 7,000 followers on Instagram and very close to our 10K followers on TikTok, which is crazy. I feel like all of our platforms are relatively around the same like follower count, which, you know, at this point, I feel like we do this because we love it, but we also want to expand the family. So you know what to do. If you want to hear from us every single week, you got to subscribe. Otherwise, how else are you going to find us? You can't just wait for a reminder messages all the time, you know? Anyways.
Not only subscribe, but like follow on all the other platforms so you'll know. We'll post the clip showing you when the episode comes out. We'll post some stories. Yeah,
actually, you know, speaking of the clips, I do have to shout you out because I feel like people really enjoyed last week's editing. Yeah. And it's showing because we didn't get a chance to post a clip the same day that we released the episode. And so someone just happened to clip the exact same clip.
Like the one that I was like literally made or I was working on.
Yeah.
Someone posted the exact same thing before that.
And you know what's crazy is like I thought it was hilarious. And so, you know, I guess on Instagram it hit the wrong audience and people are all the way triggered. Like they are triggered.
They're just having a conversation about
and you
what
know
we were
who's
discussing.
Though?
Okay,
you know who's triggered though?
Who?
Men.
What? Really? I didn't see those comments.
Oh yeah, like one guy was like really like just going in, and I was like, yo, chill, like relax. You're gonna be fine. It's okay that some people find things offensive that you may not. Like you clearly find our content.
Oh.
You clearly find our content offensive, but like chill, it's all good, homie. Like he was going in.
I need to see.
He's like, y'all, you need counseling. You're not okay. And he was just going in. I was like, relax.
Actually, yeah, you know what? There's actually a conversation, or not a conversation, but a topic I wanted to get into later. Maybe we can talk about it now.
Oh, you just turn it on, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, no, because like, so I was watching a video from a YouTuber that I really love. I've been following for a long time called Kev on Stage.
Oh yeah.
And he's a comedian, you know, he does stand up, but he also makes YouTube videos, he does podcasts. He has a whole I think I even talked about it before, but he has a whole streaming platform.
Oh wow.
Like a black owned, black run, like he's very black focused on his show or his streaming platform. But besides that, he also does reactions to like different things on the internet. He makes like comedic 1 minute shorts and stuff like that. And he was reacting to, there was a video of a mom who recently posted on her story. She was just dancing, like she was doing some dance, and the text in front said, ignoring everyone who says, quote unquote, it better be a boy this time, just praying for a healthy baby. Because I guess she was expecting another child. She has children in the background, but they're all girls, right?
Yeah.
But it's the internet, right? So of course.
Don't tell me.
What?
Someone found that offensive?
You know, I'm getting there. Okay, so she posts this, and like you said, someone was able to somehow misconstrue what she was saying. And this is one of the comments. It says, mom of an unhealthy kid here to say that those babies are equally valuable and worthy of love. But she put a heart. Okay, so like, you know what? The context, you could take that either way. You can take it positive or negative, right? So the mom who made that original video replied saying, sending you guys so much love. And she did like, that. Yeah, and she put like the heart hands, right?
Love that. That.
But then someone else replied back to her,
to the mom?
A separate person replied back to that mom from her reply saying, not sure what you mean by sending her love when you just insulted her child for not being healthy. So she took that video and she misinterpreted, I guess, what the person who originally commented and thought that like her reply to that was her insulting her unhealthy child. I know, right? Just the face you're saying right now, you're like, how do you do the mental gymnastics to be able to like come out with that conclusion on exactly what her
is that lady saying? Okay? Because I'm sure she dislocated her shoulder with that reach. Like for real though, because that's insane.
I was surprised. Like when I saw this, I started laughing too. I was like, there's no way that this is a real thing. Like these people are definitely like living on some other planet.
Is she for real though?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not even going to get triggered because I know sometimes, and I see it, right? Because I see it in our own content. Like sometimes people just comment things because they can. It's the internet. It's just how it works, right? Like someone on our last post, it literally like there was no purpose of this comment, but just wrote female. I was like, okay.
Because like it goes back to that whole thing that everyone needs to have opinion, even if it's not like doesn't help the conversation at all or doesn't add anything to the conversation, sometimes even takes away from it.
It's sort of like, you know, in school when you had the group project and it's like everyone needs to participate in order to get marks. Yeah. So they got to comment just to get their marks. Like, it's all good. We don't need to hear from you.
Yeah. And actually, there was funny thing is I didn't note it down here, but I think like someone put in a tweet saying like, food be good. Literally just those 3 lines. Food be good. And then someone replied that, not all food though. It's like, what?
Listen, I get it. Like everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And even with us, like we're entitled to our own opinion. What we share on our platform, you know, it's a mixture of our thoughts, but also we pull things from the internet and we usually cite it and all of that kind of stuff, right? If you don't like our content, if you don't agree with our opinions, just either don't consume our content or whatever, scroll past it. I don't know. Like some people are just so pressed.
Well, like it also goes back to probably like people have so much bad things going on in their life that they can't help but see everything else as like an attack on them because everything's already pretty sucky.
You know what? Okay, you know what? You know what's crazy though? Whenever it's very true, and social media just works in a very interesting way. It's like, for example, you literally are, I want to say like the way that the algorithm works now, you're basically responsible for curating your own algorithm. Yeah. Right? Like if you're having a bad time and then you're on Instagram and you like one quote about being sad, khalas, like your whole timeline, your whole Explorer page is going to be filled with like
I think you depressing. Probably do. I think we talked about this before, but you'll actively like do things to mess with your own algorithm so you don't get certain things you want and you get things you do want. Yeah. So like if you see something that you're trying to avoid, you scroll past it faster. Yeah. Or like
or not interested or
not. I never do not interested. I just scroll past it faster and I don't get it back. Or I'll what do you call it again? If it's something I do want, I'll make sure to watch it all the way through. Even if I'm like, I already got the gist of what they're doing, I'll make sure to watch it all the way through. And sometimes I'll watch it again just to make sure I keep getting it.
Okay. I have to tell you something.
What?
So I made this discovery this past week. And I feel like this has further proved my theory that I might have ADHD. Yeah. But like I figured out a way, because you know how, I don't know if Android has this yet, but remember I showed you how to fast forward a video, like you can.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys have that yet?
I think now I've noticed that like sometimes I'll have my phone in my hand and it'll accidentally open. It might be on TikTok, and because my hand is touching the screen, it'll start fast forwarding automatically.
That's what I discovered.
Oh, okay.
So if you hold down the sides of your screen while you're on TikTok, left or right side, it fast forwards the video.
Yeah. And then once you let it go, it stops.
I'm gonna lie to you. I watch majority of my TikToks.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Nah, you're spending way too much time. I think you gotta go on a hiatus or like a TikTok fast.
The normal speed is like too slow.
No way.
So I'm like,
what kind of TikToks are you watching that require you to like speed through them?
Like a lot of them are like reviews of stuff.
Oh, okay, that's why.
So I speed through it. But like also I do this at work. So at work, I'm not gonna say where I work just for like legal reasons. I don't know. Anyways, where I work, in my role, I sometimes have to listen to recorded calls for various reasons. Yeah. Sometimes these calls are like 20, 30 minutes long. You think I have the time to sit there and listen to a 20, 30 minute call? So we have different speeds. There's fast, faster, and then there's ludicrous. Yeah, right. And you go to ludicrous? Oh, yeah. And it's like very fast. Yeah. And like me and my one other, like Jordana, remember I was telling you about her? So the both of us listen to calls like that. But like some of my other coworkers, my friends, like they've heard us listening. They're like, you can't even hear what they're saying. How are you? I'm like, yes, no, I understand it this way though. You can hear it that way? Yeah. You know what? That kind of reminds me of like how, there's a weird tangent, but like how blind people use the voice, not the voice to text, but they use the captioner on their phones. I don't know what you call it, but essentially because blind people, they can't see their phone clearly, right? So they have a function where wherever their hand is hovering on or even touching on the screen, it will automatically say what's there. And like they get so tuned to the voice that they literally hear it for a split, like a millisecond, and they understand what it's saying, and they move on to the next thing, or they click it, and they just like can go through their phone like anybody else. That's and they can text and do everything. That's why there's a lot of like blind TikToks. People are like, oh, how are you using TikTok when you're blind? It's because they have that feature. And one girl, she actually showed how she does it, and to us it sounds like gibberish, but to her she's like going through it like it's nothing. Yo. Because like you get so tuned to the sound. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I do like. I should probably get tested for this. But you know what? Maybe I will do it like a TikTok fast. It'll be extremely hard because I just know like... You'll probably like replace it with like Instagram. You'll just be 2 days late on everything, but you'll still get the same videos. Not you sneak dissing Instagram like that. I don't know what you're saying. I'm just saying it's a little late sometimes. I now use Instagram what I once used Facebook for. So like, remember when Facebook was being phased out and Instagram was really popping? And I kept Facebook for like messaging people. Yeah. Now Facebook is obsolete. Like it's honestly just there for the sake of being there. I don't even use it. But Instagram is now where I message people, and then TikTok is where I consume my content. Okay, guys. So we were recording, and like 9 minutes of the footage is cut out. So we're gonna try and work around that. And we're going to try and recreate some magic here to give you guys back a little bit of what we talked about, okay? So I'm going to try and make this sound as natural as possible. All right. Sara, apparently there's a new wave of COVID going around. You could sound a little bit more like... Can you please elaborate? I didn't hear about this. I was just saying, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen the news, but there is a new strain of COVID. It's back. It's more contagious. And apparently... it's actually affecting more vaccinated people than non-vaccinated people. Sacre bleu! I did not know this. What does that mean? Maybe the vaccinated people were right. I mean, the unvaccinated people were right. Breaking news. It actually turns out that social media lied to us. The real story is the CDC came out saying that the new variant is actually more contagious to people who have been infected in the past. This includes people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. Now, back to the show. Sorry. Yeah, this is exactly how the conversation went before this. Yeah, you guys... Listen. Stuff happens, you know? Yeah. Sometimes... Don't worry about that. We're not gonna go back and talk about the past. Okay, we're not gonna dwell on the past. We're moving on to the future. Okay. All right, but basically, the point is, but like to your point. Okay, so like I'm sure all the unvaccinated people are saying this is a big win for them. Yeah, they were right. They were right to a degree, but like still, just to play, just to be in the middle here, because I was never on the extreme on either end, but be in the middle. I feel like the vaccinations did do their part for the most part, because we can't say
for certain what would have happened if we did not have a vaccine and it was not implemented, because it was also implemented into the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And, thankfully there haven't been major side effects from this. There have been cases here and there, but compared to the degree or the amount of people that have gotten it versus the amount of people who have had side effects to it, it's not, it's almost negligible. Okay. So, just to give both sides to this thing. And on the other side, there are concerns of it being, having prolonged effects that are starting to show themselves, where now they're saying that the new strain of COVID is actually more contagious, or more contagious, or is it more effective, or more
contagious? Yeah,
it's more contagious to people who are vaccinated.
Yeah. So, I mean, why the hell is this microphone being stupid? Anyways, I'm just gonna hold it.
What?
The microphone.
Okay, let me.
It's not
as
loud as it was before.
We'll be back in just a second. You are gonna break this thing. Just leave it.
I was just trying to bring it. There we go. It's
it.
perfect. It's perfect. I don't want to touch it now.
Okay. And we're back after you didn't see the whole argument that went on.
Oh, you're cutting that part out? You're cutting that part out?
You want to keep that in?
No, it's okay.
Exactly. Okay, but I guess you're seeing this firsthand because your whole office apparently got COVID.
Well, a big chunk, but it's all, and the thing is that like I was with these people last week.
Says the person, it says the person who was literally in her office every day of the week last week, and that's not normal. Yeah,
like I don't know. I felt like something was up. Like I was like, this migraine of mine, and I never really get migraines like that or headaches or anything. But like I remember the first time I caught COVID, Amir texted me saying, "Hey guys."
What?
Actually, it was before we left your house. You told us that you had a headache.
Was it?
Yeah, and then that's when Gizman was like, you should probably go get tested.
Yeah, and my parents were like saying, oh, no, don't worry, he got it. He doesn't have to worry about it, because they were so in denial.
Yeah.
And then getting it.
So, I hope, but you know what? Because they're saying that those who are vaccinated, like, they end up getting more sick.
I just realized we're going to get a content warning on this page now.
Why?
Because we're talking about COVID. I feel like anytime you talk about COVID, actually, maybe YouTube's kind of like cut back on that a bit.
Maybe.
Like, that's something you probably noticed online in general. And it's not only for COVID now. It's like for a lot of things. If someone mentions something that's very, not incendiary, but like very, has people like not extreme. Sorry. What is the word? It's like, it's very polarizing. Yeah. If someone talks about something that's like super polarizing and currently in like the conversation, usually on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, what's the new one? Twitter or X? Yeah. So they'll actually put like a content warning at the bottom to be like, here is the facts on the situation, or like, here's a little bit more information if you want to. Because we saw that originally with COVID.
Yeah,
but they kind of expanded that to other conversations as well.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've seen it like recently. Someone was talking about like I think it was on a Philip DeFranco video, and at the bottom it said like for a specific thing he was talking about. I think it was maybe about the climate change or something. It said like for more information on climate change, you can click here on like .gov or whatever that is. Yeah, and they automatically adds that because they have a transcript of what you're saying, right? So it kind of like picks up on those words and then gives you the appropriate like results.
Well, maybe they're also just trying to be like encourage more fact checking, right? So
and like critical thinking and checking out for yourself.
Yeah, which I guess is not a bad thing, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's probably we're probably gonna get it too eventually.
Nah, I don't think so. Honestly, even if we do get it, I don't know if
we do get it and we have to record. Can you just reference this section of this episode in that episode?
It's gonna be like the other thing. It's like, oh, they're totally fine, and like next episode is like we couldn't record it because someone got sick.
Yeah,
wasn't there a certain fact like that? Oh yeah, it was literally when we were talking about the lockdowns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, they're not gonna lock down. Something to that matter.
Yeah.
And literally like the next day they're like, okay guys, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to go back into lockdowns. Quebec is like going full force again, like shutting down everything.
Oh.
They put in a curfew, all of that. They're like, if we could do it only for the unvaccinated people, we would, but we can't. So we have to do it for everyone.
Yeah.
BC, I believe, shut down. I feel like Ontario is like, you know what? F it.
They really said fend for yourselves.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not mad at it.
Survival of the fittest.
Effective Wednesday, January 5th at 12:01 a.m., Ontario will return to a modified step 2 of the roadmap to reopen.
No, God, please, no.
It was also when you said that you could handle heat and that you had a really good poker face, but then you were crying 2 seconds later.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes we don't know the future, okay? and I'm willing to accept that sometimes I'm not right about things, and we move on and we learn from those things.
You know what that sounds like?
What?
Maturity.
Exactly. And I am the most mature person in this room at the moment. Okay, let's move on to
I'm not going to comment on the fact that you just tried to call me immature, but
I didn't call you immature. You can be mature as well. Just one is more mature than the other.
Guys,
clearly. Is it not clear?
Let's take a moment here as you're listening to this, or if you're watching this. Just let us know somehow, some way, telepathically even. Who do you think is more mature?
We don't have to go that far, okay?
Me
but
or Amir? We'll let the audience decide.
Okay, we'll let y'all decide. But on the topic of maturity, so let's see, someone made a mature choice here. So apparently, there was a fan of Drake's who they spent their furniture money on concert tickets.
Yep.
On concert tickets to watch Drake. And, Drake is a very, what do you call it? Philanthropic. He's
philanthropic.
Very
Philanthropic.
You just have to say that you're
Drake is a very philanthropic person, okay? And he chose to give this person $50,000 to recompense them for their sacrifice to watch him at his show.
Yeah.
And you posed this question, so I'm going to pose it to you.
All right.
Do you think that we should be rewarding people for making these choices that aren't in their best interest?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that person would beg to differ.
Yeah.
Right? Because they spent the money that they probably should have used to purchase their furniture.
Yeah. And it's like rewarding them for doing something they probably shouldn't have done to begin with.
So the way I see it, when I first saw that headline, was like, wow, that's really nice of Drake. But also, I don't know if you saw it, but he's been giving away like designer bags and stuff, right? At his concerts. And anyone who tried to get tickets, that those tickets are insanely priced. But as are pretty much a lot of concerts.
Anything is insanely priced these days.
Yeah, but like specifically concerts, like we in a recession, guys. Okay, like I don't understand why you're charging so much, but we already spoke about that a couple weeks ago. As for we're not the ones rewarding. Drake is, but like, should that really be happening? Personally, like, if you gotta buy furniture, listen. Me personally, if I had to buy furniture, if it was between buying furniture or seeing Drake, I'm gonna buy my furniture. I'll watch Drake on YouTube if I really need to.
Yeah, but is furniture really that important?
But that's the thing, to each their own, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this person made that sacrifice, and it wasn't even like one ticket. He went to this person went to 2 separate shows.
Oh, they went to 2 shows.
Yeah, and then they have a sign that says, "I spent my furniture money to buy tickets to both of your shows."
Yeah.
And so he was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you 50 bands.
But that was the thing that surprised me most. I'm like, okay, I would it would make sense if maybe he bought them new furniture or something like that. But 50 bands, like this person already made a like inappropriate decision, not inappropriate, but what would you call it? They made like a bad, irresponsible decision of buying these tickets instead of buying themselves furniture. What do you think they're gonna do with $50,000? They're probably gonna make another irresponsible choice with that money as well. I don't think like the likelihood of them making the right decision going forward from there and like actually getting the things that they need is super low compared to them just like going out and maybe buying more tickets to Drake and like following around the country or something because they're like a super fan.
I mean, I think from Drake's perspective, like just from seeing clips of his concert online and the part where he has the actual like dialogue with the fans and the people that are, my God, my head's too big. This is hurting my ears. I think he's genuinely grateful and thankful that people are actually spending their hard-earned money to come and watch him perform. And so he really tries to express that gratitude by putting on a good show, by talking to and interacting with the fans, but also like literally rewarding them by giving them things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he gave out a Birkin. That was nothing to him. And I don't know if you know how expensive Birkins are, but they're pretty pricey.
Oh, from that video that lady made, is like maybe $11,000, something like that. I don't know.
11,000.
I think it was. No,
I'm sure a lot more people would own Birkins if they were only 11,000.
I thought the thing about Birkins is that you had to have like a meeting, and like it had to be like, it's very custom.
So like they're the very like popular sought after ones, like the more neutral colors. Those ones are very exclusive, and you have to basically be invited by a sales associate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But then there are like the random ones that you could probably like, if you were to go in, like you can't just go into an Hermes store and expect to like buy a Birkin right then and there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they may not
Birkins
even.
are made by Hermes?
Yeah.
I thought Birkin was a brand.
No, it's the bag? It's the name of the bag. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there are different types of them, but yeah.
But okay, so to go back to the conversation of rewarding people.
Yeah, so I just think like from Drake's perspective, I think he was just like, wow, like to him, $50,000 is probably not that much, right? But he's probably putting himself like that's very like empathetic of him. You know, I kind of admire Drake for that. For him to be like, wow, you spent money that you should have bought furniture with on my concert tickets.
But like, I don't think it's very okay. I don't want to be that person and be like, oh, you know, like he should have gave them some, but I'm going to be that person. Okay. So like he understands that this person made a decision of like going without something that they needed to go and see him for 2 shows. So like one show would have been irresponsible, but 2 shows is like super irresponsible. So to go back to the original point I was making, is like, okay, maybe give them something equivalent to $50,000 of like, I don't know, paying their rent and getting them that furniture, like getting all that stuff. But I think it's like, of course, maybe there's a lot of work that goes into that. I'm trying to go into his thinking. So like just giving the $50,000 would be a lot easier. But that's just a whole, I feel like it would just create, it would put that person in a worse off position, because you don't know what they're going to do with that money.
Yeah.
And I know we shouldn't care what they're going to do with that money, but like if you're trying to reward this person, sometimes giving them money is not the best option for them, especially if they made an irresponsible decision to get to you, if that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to get at here?
I do. I feel like I get what you're trying to say, but I also feel like, imagine if Drake was like, I'm going to get you $50,000 worth of gift cards to Leon's. People would clown him and be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know? So this way, like, and who knows? We don't know how he's like, we don't know if he's going to write him a check or if he's actually going to give him gift cards. Or who knows, right? Like, I think for someone of Drake's stature, is that the word? Like someone with that type of wealth, like to give out $50,000 worth of gift cards is a little insane. Sorry, I might have clipped the mic with that. But yeah, I don't know. Like,
but this is the culture right now, I guess, to go to the general point of what you're trying to make, of rewarding people for making irresponsible decisions.
In general?
Yeah.
I don't think we should be rewarding people for making it, because that'll just further, like, that just sends a message to a lot of the younger people that may not make wise decisions with their money, right? Like, and financial literacy is something that we've talked about before on this channel, and I think we should deep dive into it one day. Like we'll actually have a whole episode on that, maybe if you guys are interested. But like, imagine if you're teaching young people this idea of like, well, if you really want something, even if it's like worth going against some of your needs, just do it. It's worth it.
Oh my God.
We're being tested today, guys.
Yeah, I got cut out there again. Speaking on following your dreams, like there is this whole side of the internet where they talk about like going all in, and they don't really talk about doing it responsibly and having something to fall back on. They make the idea of having something to fall back on sound like a negative, when really like that's just the most responsible thing to do, right? Or like,
that makes no sense.
What?
How is having a plan B a negative thing?
Well, that's what the internet tries to sell people, because it's easier to like sell the dream, if that makes sense, but they don't tell you how only 1% of people end up being successful in whatever they're currently trying to market you. So like when someone's trying to tell you like to what is something following your dreams on? I don't know.
Like content creation.
Yeah, content creation. Like they say you should go all in and should be 100% like
quit your jobs today.
Quit your job, all those things. But then they don't tell you how like 99% of YouTubers don't end up making it past like 1,000 subscribers in their whole lifetime of trying it. You know, and these people put their all in, and they'll be like, and a lot of these guys was like, it might take 1 year, maybe it took 2 years, and then 2 years later you find yourself with like no friends, no family support, no money in the bank because you neglected everything else in your life. I mean, to follow this one dream. And it, you know, the reason that you're probably feeling like, oh, I mean, like, you know, you kind of have to, is because you're thinking of the 1% that it actually worked out for.
That, and I also think like in more recent times, content creation has become a little bit more accessible now with like micro influencers.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to look for something more niche, but
okay, maybe like thing. Becoming a star, I don't know, like a recording artist.
Yeah.
For example, like that maybe involves some luck, but also just like knowing the right people or being at the right place at the right time to be discovered and all that kind of stuff. And like,
and that's actually an aspect of it that a lot of them don't talk about. Like they talk about following that one specific dream, but they don't talk about like maybe developing skills so that even if you don't get, it's like the whole thing. Like if you shoot for the stars, you might land. Even if you miss, you'll land on the moon. What's that whole line?
Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land on the stars.
Exactly.
That was a poster in my elementary school class.
See, so she got the lines for me. Okay, I don't have many things, so she got it for me. But that idea is that like as you're working towards that goal, you're developing other skills that even if you don't end up making it to that goal, because you don't know when that goal is you're gonna realize that goal, right? But at least you'll develop skills in the meantime that you can use to at least keep yourself afloat and keep yourself within that industry that you want to be in, so that eventually maybe when you do catch your break, because there is some luck that goes into making it to that like top 1% that you probably want to be in, involved in that. So in that time, at least you've developed other skills that will keep you in that realm. Like let's say you want to become a movie director, you might learn how to, in the meantime, you might learn how to edit, you might learn how to pull focus, you might learn how to like do lighting, you might learn all these other skills that will get you jobs within that realm, that eventually when you meet the right person and speak to the right person, you'll be able to get your foot more, at least if you have your foot in the door, you'll be able to eventually open that door and get into wherever you want to get into.
Yeah, and I think that concept applies really for any industry. Like I was, as you were saying that, I was just thinking about like, I know we just spoke about content creation, but like anyone can be a content creator, but only so few are, well, there's like a smaller portion that are like the top content creators, you know? And yes, that involves some luck, but it also like there's like a recipe to the madness, if you know what I mean. Like there's obviously the consistency, the dedication, the originality, like the type of content, right? Like it depends on what you're putting out. But as you're starting off as a micro influencer or whatever it is, but if specifically for this example, like you said, you learn how to edit, or like you have ideas of content, or you're, because of how much you've consumed, like you know what shots you want and all this kind of stuff, and then eventually that may lead you to collabing with a big name, and then next thing you know, you blow up overnight, you know?
Because people can get so singular in a goal that they don't realize that they're missing opportunities like left and right, because they're so focused on their own goal and making themselves successful, that they may not realize that like maybe helping out another YouTuber who may be already successful, maybe their foot in the door into maybe collaborating with them in the future, and then getting them to blow up on their own channel or whatever they're working towards. And I'm using YouTube as an example, but like this works on any industry, right?
Yeah,
like
I totally see that.
Writers, how many writers nowadays in the music industry are now blowing up because they were initially writing for like these bigger artists like Beyonce, or I don't know,
Meghan Trainor used to be like exclusively just a songwriter, And then she is like a very successful singer.
Yeah, because she probably had dreams of being a singer, but she didn't make it in that realm, so she started writing for artists. Or maybe, I don't know what her story is. Let's say that's what the case was. But then because she had that foot in the door, when eventually she did want to become one or started blowing up as an artist, like she already had the industry connections to be able to do that. So I don't know where this even stemmed from. We've been interrupted so many times by this like video and recording issue that I don't even know where this stemmed from, being responsible.
From Drake.
From Drake and all that. I don't know how it turned into a whole conversation about following your dreams, but being responsible with them. But hopefully you took something from that.
Because we talked about like...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we talked about, whether or not we should reward whether or not we should reward someone for making an irresponsible decision.
Yeah.
And then somehow that trickled into that.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of like rewarding people, this is actually maybe a positive way of rewarding people. But you've seen this trend. I feel like we've talked about this trend before, but it's the whole like the GoFundMe trend where like a guy will go on the street, he'll talk to someone who looks like they're in need, and he'll help them. There'll always be that comment, be like, is there a GoFundMe? They'll be like, here's the link, and then all these people start supporting them. And now I'm like, my question was like, is GoFundMe essentially doing the job of the government now? And the reason I thought about that is because there's recently a case of actually a Somali mother in Toronto.
Yeah, I saw that.
Her name was Hinda Usman, and she had a yard sale in front of her house, and she was like selling some house items. And this guy, I forget what his Instagram name was, but he walked up to her, just like many guys, and he walked up on her and like asked her what her story is, what you're doing, and he found out that she has like stage 4 breast cancer, and she's currently trying to raise money so that she can make her house accessible, because she's about to go through this chemo and through these surgeries probably, and she's gonna like lose a lot of mobility. But she also has a daughter who's disabled, who has Down syndrome, and she wanted to make sure that her house was ready for whatever might come in the future. And her, I guess, solution to that was like having a yard sale. But she actually has like 28 years of experience, and she's been working as a nurse in a hospital in Toronto. After this came out, he made that video. Like I mentioned before, the cycle is someone writes a comment, where's the GoFundMe? He made a GoFundMe, and they're actually able to raise, I think the goal was $5,000, and they were able to raise, at least when I checked it last, right before we recorded, was $128,000 for this woman. So, mashallah, is really good, especially this is like a struggling Somali mother who has 4 kids. Like this is one of her kids is disabled, but she has 4 kids in total. And she's also a single mother who's trying to take care of this house. And it's not only the house being accessible that she needed to work on, it's the fact that her house was also like basically breaking down at the same time. So just to help with that and also making it accessible. And my question was like, why did she feel like she had to sell her own stuff to be able to afford these things? And like, is there anything that maybe the government might be able to do to support this? So I actually searched it up. I was like, okay, is there any resources out there to help her? And there's actually one, like I searched up, is called like this disability grants in Ontario. And they actually grant to people for the exact thing that she needed to make her house more accessible. Because I searched for that specifically. They actually grant like $25,000 to people who are in need of that. So this would be perfect for her, right?
Yeah.
And I was in this specific case, I was like, why is she not aware that this is accessible like to her? Why is she not aware that these grants are out there? And I feel like it's because there's like a disconnect between the people and what the government offers, and that I feel like it's more of a failure on the government's end, where people have to turn to the internet and GoFundMes to gather resources that the government has available to the people, but that connection between the people and the government is so like disjointed that they don't even know that this help is out there for them.
But is the grant like they just grant them $25,000 or is it like up to $25,000?
No. What do you call it again? Like they don't have to pay it back. Oh wait, you said if it's up to $25,000?
Yeah, because sometimes like who knows? Maybe she applied and they only gave her like $2,500, for example. I'm
assuming that she didn't know this. Yeah. And I'm sure that there are probably a lot of cases where people don't know this. And that's my main thing, is that I feel like people are turning to resources like GoFundMe, where they're turning to individual people, when I feel like the government is failing their part in letting these people know that there are resources out there, or maybe they're not, maybe there aren't enough resources out there, and that's what the government is failing to do as well.
I mean, you know, I think there's room for improvement when it comes to government support. Like, I don't think it would be, you'd be pretty naive if you're going to just rely strictly on government support, because I think we can all attest, like, we all know it's not enough. Like, you know,
but
it's something, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Especially for what she may need in her situation. I actually remember seeing that TikTok when it first came up before the GoFundMe started.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think a couple days later, I saw someone post the GoFundMe. I'm like, oh my God, I saw this lady on TikTok. So, you know, it made me really happy to see that the GoFundMe was created for her. But you're right. Like, there probably is a disconnect, and maybe the government isn't doing a good enough job to make the resources well known. But also maybe she, like, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know, if you don't know that the government offers grants in these types of situations, you're not going to apply. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, that's a failure on the part of the government, maybe even the community. Because maybe there are things that the community can do. And I think another question I asked was, like, how can, in her case, like, how can an Islamic center, which is because she's Muslim, like, how can an Islamic center or even a mosque, like, allow the people within their community to, like, know that these resources are out there, or connect them with these resources, right?
I mean, I'm thinking about it, like, from an everyday standpoint, because obviously this is like a one-off scenario where, like, she was on TikTok, it blew up, and then went all over, right? But for the most part, like, you know how it is when someone gets sick with a terminal illness or a terminal disease or whatever, like something as severe as cancer, 9 times out of 10 people are really, like, private about that, and you don't really even know until it's the very, like, end, or you know what I mean? And then they're now coming to terms with, like, they may die soon, so they're gonna say their goodbyes and stuff, and that's when you hear about it, or you find it after they pass away, you know? So I think that, I'm sure Islamic centers can do a better job at like, providing just knowledge about the resources. Not even if they don't have the funds to provide the resources themselves, like, at least have, like, a board up in your center with a whole bunch of resources for any aspect, whether it's, you know, medical stuff, mental health, I don't know, like, whatever needs that your community has, right? And that way people can kind of just view it discreetly or something.
Because whenever I see these videos, I'm like, for, like, every one Hinda, there's probably, like, 1,000 that we don't know of.
I'm sure that's the
thousands
case.
That we don't know of, right?
Yep.
And he just randomly walked up her. This was her, like, the fact that she's going through all of this, and, like, and that's just one random person he walked up to. And
have you seen his videos before?
Yeah, I think all his videos are like that.
Where he gifted a house to the Syrian refugees?
Yeah, I saw that too, right? So all these people are going through everybody's going through, like, not everybody, but a lot of people are going through similar things, and we just don't know about it. So maybe it requires our communities to be more, like, first it requires us to break down, or maybe break down that culture of, like, feeling too shy to let people know about maybe the things that you might need, or might, like, in this case, asking for help. That's what it is. Yeah. Because there is, like you mentioned, there is that whole taboo about, like, asking for help within our communities.
Yeah. Like, she didn't even ask. She was just selling her stuff because in her mind, she's a single mother, right? And as a parent, I'm not one, but I know this is how parents are. You'll do anything for your kids, even if that means selling your belongings. Yeah. Right? Just to make sure that, Allahu Alam, what's gonna, like, may Allah protect her and heal her, but you don't know what's gonna happen with her, right? And she doesn't know. So she's thinking, like, I need to set my kids up, and I need to make sure that they're good in case I don't make it.
Exactly.
So, oh my God, I just got goosebumps. Like,
and speaking of the resources issue, like, I was actually asked at the Islamic Center over the weekend, and apparently, not apparently, but, like, I think there's been, like, recently a large group of Ugandans who are, like, maybe immigrating to the country, because throughout the weeks I've been seeing more Ugandans, like, pull up to the Islamic Center for the prayer. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and then, like, one of them actually came up to me. Their English wasn't very good, but clearly he was like, hey, if you have any like, what he was basically trying to say is like, hey, if you have any like resources for like getting a job in the city, and he's like, I was like, sorry, man, like I don't know anybody. I can point you to maybe a couple people, right?
Yeah.
But like there isn't a specific thing we have set up for people who are looking for jobs. So maybe we need to start implementing certain like things like that in Islamic centers or mosques, where we can inform the people who are normally there that, hey, there's a board here, or maybe there's a resource center or someone you can call for certain things that people might need. And not only for jobs, but like if someone, like in Hinda's case, how she needed someone to, her house was breaking down. Like she had electrical issues, plumbing issues. Like if you have a few plumbers within the Islamic community or electricians who can offer their work at a discount for people within the community. So, or even maybe for free in certain cases for people who might need it, and making that available to people.
I've actually been to an Islamic center before where they had this massive board where people could put like, I remember when I saw it at the time, people were putting up like basement for rent, here's mine, and you know how you can have those little slips of paper that you rip the number off, and like just random things like hardwood floors at a discounted rate, how to change your windows, whatever, I don't know, stuff around the house like for the community. And like that's, why don't they do that? That's a good idea.
I don't know, like if a specific case to me was like recently, I don't need it anymore, but I was like, I should probably get a new car. Right? Because like my car is a bit old, okay?
It's a hoopty.
Yeah, it's probably older than half the people listening to this podcast, literally.
Maybe.
But so I was looking to get a new used car, and I didn't even know I knew this person for so many years of my life, like more than half my life, and I just found out that this person owned like a used car sale dealership. I'm like, how did I not know this? Like I thought this person was an engineer for the majority of my life. That you
and I were talking about?
Yeah, I thought this person was an engineer for a majority of my life, and I just found out that he was a used car salesman. And I'm like, this would have been a good resource. I'm not going to buy that the car anymore because I was able to fix the issues I was having. Alhamdulillah. But maybe for other people who are looking for one, that would be a good resource to have or make the people aware of.
I think sometimes like what it might be is like when you're going to an Islamic center, obviously you're going there with certain intentions, right? Like you're going there to worship God, you're going there to be in the community, whatever it is, like pray or whatever it is, volunteer, whatever you're going there for. And so for some people it could be like an escape from their 9 to 5, right? And so they're not really thinking about networking or jobs or this or that or anything. They're just kind of going there. It's like when you step foot in the Islamic center, like we're all the same, we're all Muslims, so we're just here to do my business. Well,
that's why I'm kind of separating the words Islamic center from mosque. Because mosque, if it's strictly mosque, like when I'm talking a real mosque, like a real mosque, like it will never be anything other than a mosque. Then I feel like that's dedicated purely to worship. But then Islamic centers, which may have like a prayer area in it.
Okay, I get you.
Those places I feel like should be almost like a third place to Muslims, where they go there for resources or for help in whatever aspect of their life they need. Whether it's for like marriage counseling, whether it's for the things we've mentioned, like financial aid or help with education, all those things. I feel like that should be a place where a Muslim feels comfortable going to for whatever resources they're looking for. And in our community, Muslim, I don't know if people know this, but Muslims, like we're probably the most educated. Yeah, we have the most educated demographic. Probably, I feel like. I don't know. Okay,
maybe we're biased.
I'm biased, but like I feel like we have a lot of educated. In general, let's say I feel like we have a lot of educated people in our community who would be able to help in some manner. Yeah,
I mean, like I'm all for sharing resources and like even if, for example, like you, I feel like you're a jack of all trades. You kind of know how to do a little bit of everything, but like specifically when it comes to like technical engineering and that sort of thing, right? Like people kind of know you and they're like, if I have something, like if I have a question, I'm going to go, or like working out, for example. How many people have come up to you and asked you for fitness advice? Yeah. You know?
I could be the health and fitness guy at the center.
The PE specialist. Yeah. But no, but like you're right. And I think there's a gap in that, in our community, in our Islamic center specifically. I'm sure maybe other more established centers may already have this.
Maybe I'd like to hear from other people who maybe have these certain setups in their centers. Like, tell us how it works out, where it is. Like, I want to maybe do some research on that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I'm because I know I've seen it before, so I'm sure other centers that maybe have a bit of a more like I don't know. I'm not trying to insult one and then not insult the other. Like, anyways, I'm sure there are other centers that have some sort of organized situation. So if you attend a center that has this type of like shared resources for the community,
let us know how that's worked out for you guys. Yeah,
like that. I find that that's such a great idea, and it's actually needed. It's not even like, oh, it'd be nice to have. No. This is a need for the community.
And also, kind of, I don't know. I don't want to speak for a Hinda situation, but there are people who, because maybe English wasn't their first language, maybe they're new to the country, they don't know about a lot of even the simplest resources that are available to them. So like having something like this would also help them. Maybe if there's a lot of paperwork involved, and they don't know how to like kind of go through this paperwork and fill it out correctly, they can go to a center where someone may be able to support them in that.
Yeah, like I know that there are like newcomers to Canada centers around the city. Yeah. But like
I mentioned, the people from Uganda that were recently visiting the Islamic center.
Yeah. So like, but there's like centers in different areas that are it's called like newcomers to Canada or something.
Oh, I didn't even know. See, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, no, I've seen it in my area, and I was like, oh, that's really nice that they have this. But like, I don't know. Like you don't know what you don't know, right? And unless you ask for help, which it looks like this guy did for you, where you could tell him like, okay, maybe go on, like here's where you could look for newcomer resources, for example. So maybe if you see him next week, let him know that those centers exist.
I gotta start doing my research now.
But yeah,
that was just a story that I want to bring to light, because like that is something we're seeing a lot on what do you call it again, on TikTok, Instagram. Yeah. And every time in the back of my mind when I see this one story of, and it's not only her, but like if it's a homeless person or the Syrian family who just came to the country, who was looking for a home, like,
well, shout out to that one lady that was literally housing them.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Mashallah, may Allah reward her too, because
Allah reward her.
She was like helping them, but she also wanted to help her family back home. Like, I think there was another one where I think this guy worked at a car wash or a bakery or something, and he gave him, I think it was like $20,000. So he just gave him like a large lump sum of money, and this guy started crying, and it was very like, I love that guy's videos. It's very like heartwarming to see.
And I don't know, also on the back of my mind, whenever I see like large lump sums of money given to someone, I also kind of have that thing in the back of my mind, like,
tax write-off?
No, not that. It's that just straight up money doesn't solve the issue, because a person who maybe has never doesn't have any financial literacy, has never had this much money to kind of manage before, doesn't know where to start. Like, they can be taken advantage of by even the closest family members, unfortunately. Like, that's a big issue, where when someone comes into a lot of money, they start seeing family members that haven't spoken to them or seen them in years, and they start telling them to do this and that. Like,
oh, I can't see out of my left eye. Can you pay for my LASIK?
See, so but not only that, but like, even if like let's say if a person's homeless and they're given these like $100,000, which is happening actually more often not on the internet nowadays, from what I'm seeing. Like, if you just straight up give them that money, you give it to them, but then also give them the resources to be able to get them back on their feet, like show them where they can help them out with the renting process, and there's actually a TikTok guy. There's a guy I followed. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now, but someone actually did that, where they didn't only just give the guy the money, but they followed up with him. They'll be like, okay, let's get you an apartment. First, he was homeless, right? So they're like, okay, first let's get you a hotel. We'll put you up in a hotel for like a week, and we'll help you look for jobs. And they were able to get him to sign up for like Uber. And they're like, okay, so now we're signing up for Uber. How are you going to transport? So they raised a little bit of money and they got him an electric bike.
Okay.
And they got him the electric bike and he was approved for Uber. And then I think a couple weeks later, they followed up with him and like he was doing a lot better. They took him to get a haircut, to get new clothes. And every week there would be a new update. And now he's just like, he's working a regular job. He's renting an apartment. He's about to rent an apartment now. Everything is working out proper for him. And he was like, just a few weeks earlier, he was living under a bridge in a tent.
That's so sad.
So it's this good thing. It's a good thing to help these people by giving them funds to be able to get out of their situation. But it's also important to remember that these people probably have never had to deal with this much money before. So you should probably support them in the next steps that come with that money and what's required to get them back on their feet. Yeah,
but that's also not like, imagine especially the people that have the resources to gift these large lump sums of money through YouTube and TikTok and stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know if they have the ability to provide resources to every single person that they're helping. If so, that's great.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking about it from like an everyday standpoint, like let's just say you felt like being extra generous one day, you see a homeless man and you give him like $100 bill.
Yeah.
Are you now going to be like, come with me? Let's let me show you how to use.
Well, like it's for an individual person, like just giving money. First off, an individual is not, you're just going to randomly give that much money, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these TikTokers who are making these kind of videos, they're usually setting up a GoFundMe where those usually blow up, right? So, and I feel like it's a give and take. They're kind of profiting from helping out someone, or they're profiting from someone's like sad story, essentially, right?
Which is also why I'm like, I'm torn. Like, I like the content, but at the same time, I'm like, imagine how much more effective it would be if you didn't have to just record, like just do it. No,
but like, sure, go ahead and record, but like, if they're just doing it for a split second to feel good, it's like, okay, that's where I'm kind of off with it. But then if you follow up like that other guy did and actually help them, genuinely help them, like show that you're genuinely interested in seeing this person succeed, that's when I'm like, okay, this is a fair trade in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Where you may be benefiting from it by getting more followers and getting maybe the funds or like the what do you call it? The revenue from the videos that you're putting up. But at least that person's also benefiting by like getting back on their feet.
You
change their life, right?
Yeah.
Because there have been actually people who followed up on other YouTubers who didn't do that, or TikTokers who didn't do that, where they just gave a large sum of money, and they found out that sometimes the person they gave it to, who was a homeless person, was just robbed afterwards, or they ended up being killed for the money, or
that's so sad.
Like a lot of like sad situations, because these people just benefited that one moment by filming them and giving them something, and then just walked away and didn't even think about the consequences of, because there's also an aspect of it. Whenever you give someone, it's a crabs in a bucket situation. If you give one person in a homeless community a lot of money and give them a lot of attention, they're going to get a lot of eyes on them from the other people 100%. In that community.
Yeah, 100%.
So you have to really start to follow up, and I feel like that's the proper solution, where you actually follow up and go down the line with them until you see them get up on their feet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
But that's like a really nice, like, nice story.
Which one? The guy, the Uber driver. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so he was doing Uber Eats, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he was doing like Uber Eats, and I think he signed up. You can sign up for multiple, right? So he's doing that.
How you can do Uber on an electric bike?
No, they all do that here.
You get on the back of someone's bike?
What? What do you mean?
Uber
Eats.
Oh, Uber Eats only.
Yeah.
Like, you kept saying Uber, so I'm like...
No, I'm talking about Uber Eats. My bad. Yeah. No, he didn't have a whole car yet, but maybe that's the next goal. You never know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, we didn't even get through like all of our topics here, but we'll just hold them off until next week. And I don't know how I'm going to edit this. I already have a less data. So please, for my suffering, do me the favor of subscribing to the channel.
Show him some love, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, he works really hard.
I'm gonna try and edit this thing and actually add some creativity, but it's gonna be a struggle. And just follow us on all our platforms. Get us to, I think, 7,000 followers on Instagram, 10,000 on TikTok, and
10,000 on YouTube, inshallah.
10,000 on YouTube, inshallah. You know, tell your friends, tell everyone you know, and inshallah, we'll see y'all next week. Bye.